All right, everyone, it's the eve of the big game. That means the match is tomorrow, mere hours away now. Will Celtic take that decisive step towards 3 in a row? Will Rangers make it a bit of a 50-50 fight for the league title? Or will it be a draw? We've not got answers on that today, but we do have Stevie braving the late night conditions wherever he's dialing in from. How are you, Stevie?
I'm good. It's nice to see you again. I know that we're having another. I say again because we actually had a run at this earlier on with an unidentified male who we won't name or we won't criticise. Yeah, hopefully, when it comes to events over the next few days, Hamish, that's the most disastrous of them all, and we can look back and laugh at it all. But aye, good to be on with you again, mate. As you can tell, it's recording time is 25 past 10 here, and I'm very still bright and cheery despite having a day of hay fever issues. What about that?
You seem very much like you're bright and cheery. Yes, we were hoping to have Reed from GigPod on. However, we basically ran into every single technical issue possible. So if you're wondering why it's not a three-person video today, then that is the reason. As we say, we'll hopefully get him on at some stage. But yeah, how are we feeling generally ahead of the big one this weekend? Because you're usually a barometer for how nervous people should be feeling.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I am the fair barometer there. I'm usually the exception, the out of touch Celtic fan. But you know what? I mean, I've been quite lucky this week, Hamish, because all week I've kept myself busy with work and a lot of things to do, away from work as well. So I've not actually had the chance to think about it too much. For the last game, the 3-each game, that's all I could do was think about it all week, and it was just on my mind. I was chatting about it constant. But whereas this one, I've had tons of things to do away from work, and I'm now only sort of getting round to it. So I have to say I'm leaning more towards being confident, and it's a lot. It's to do with last weekend. I was calling for complete unity, just like everyone was among the fans and players, and we needed to see the energy for the stands transferred onto the pitch. We got that last week, and that was a big part of it. Like, see, last week if we'd maybe struggled to a slog or something to a win, and everybody was all edgy, then that would be very different with my feeling getting into this game. But no, it's the fact that we really did play well last week. Everybody was up for it. Everyone played their part, and I say the fans, but so did the players and the staff and the management team as well. They did a great job too, and it's gave everybody great confidence getting into this one. And it's essentially about how what we do. I mean, the last game was that to an extent, but we had to obviously bring in the fact that Rangers at Ibrox, it was all their fans. We've got none of ours. I mean, this was a team that had everything to play for at the time. We were massive underdogs. It switched in this one. We are definitely the favourites for it. Rangers will think they've got nothing to lose. But I think this Celtic team and what we've seen in the past anyway, and I can back it up with results against Rangers and what we've won in the past few years. The Celtic team do thrive when it comes to the pressure, and I'm not going in with bravado or anything when I say that, because I do acknowledge it's a difficult game. As I say, it's an opponent we're up against that, as I say, if the pressures all off them, they've got nothing to lose, and that can make them even more dangerous. But I think if we turn up and we do our job, we've got every reason to be confident and be right up for it. And everybody I spoke to today, including yourself, fella, we're all right up for this game. I think, of course, people are going to be nervous and be a wee bit, even slightly worried or panicky, actually. That's natural with these fixtures. But in the end, I think there is more confidence that we're going about things in the right way. And last week was a massive leap towards how we're feeling this week, Hamish.
Yeah, I think you look at the team last week that played, and there was just so many positives in the performance all over the park. And it's almost just a case of, obviously this is a simplified message, but sending them out again and saying, go on, just play your football. Because I've said that all week, and I guess it's one of the most basic things people say ahead of these fixtures. If we turn up, we'll win. But I genuinely think there's a lot of truth in that. If Celtic turn up and with that intensity and that drive that we had against Hearts, I think we'll win this match. The issue for me comes if it's a kind of lacklustre and nervy Celtic that give them real encouragement in the game. I think they're the kind of team that pounce on mistakes. And I think back to some of the recent, the last two derbies at Celtic Park, we've won them both, right? It was 2-1 earlier this season and 3-2 last season. Both of those first half performances were really nervy from Celtic. Remember the 3-2 game, Aaron Moy kept getting caught in possession, Cameron Carter-Vickers was really poor, and Rangers had a lot of joy from us making mistakes. December, the match was the same. Again, I know we won, but they had a number of chances in that first half. The big Dessers chance was a complete mishap from Alistair Johnson. As I say, there was one from Liam Scales when Liam Scales and Greg Taylor just both left the ball and McCausland ran through. So it's that kind of play that I think if we're tight, like we were in like the 3-0 and the 4-0 games, I think our attacking quality will be too strong for them. But that's still a question for me. I mean, we've kind of taken it for granted this Celtic team will be right up for it. There may still be nerves there. It's a huge game and it's probably only natural if they feel that. But I do bring confidence, everyone. Here are the last 10 matches between Celtic and Rangers. 6 Celtic wins, Stevie. 3 draws, 1 Rangers win. We've actually scored the first goal in 9 of those 10 matches. Rangers have scored the final goal in 6 of the 10. So the pattern has been pretty clear in those derbies. So many of them have been really tight matches. It's only really that 3-0 they had, the dead rubber at the end of last season, and the 4-0 obviously that we had, that have been the real blow-away performances in the last 10. So many of them have been tight, but we've kind of known what has been needed to get the job done, especially at Celtic Park. We've won the last 3 at Celtic Park as well. So looking at that, it does bring you confidence, but I mean, every one of these matches is its own thing. And the thing is, every one of those, probably apart from the 4-0 game, have been really nervy, fraught matches for us. None of them have been easy.
Not if not, and yeah, I get that. My mindset with these ones is as well that I know you're bringing that up, and we've had a lot of joy against them, but and it's well documented. I think their last result against us was the October 2021, where they got a win at Celtic Park. I know you might have forgotten that because that just goes out of your mind that season. You don't have it counting anymore. But
apparently Connor Goldson scored both goals that day.
Part of me just worries a wee bit, and this is the way my brain is, where I have that whole law of averages and they're due a result thing. But I've been saying that every game get into it. I've been saying it the 3-0 February 22 game. You know, I was saying it certainly in the 4-0 one, Angie's second season too. But I think, you know, there's no doubt as well, though. There's been some criticisms of Celtic Park and maybe the atmosphere, you know, ever since that game, 3-0 February 2022, hasn't been as raucous as what it was that night, and it sometimes felt like anticlimactic compared to that. But the fans always turn up for these games, and it definitely, the players do feed off it. That's what we've seen. And certainly, I can only really think of, you know, one game was around about this time, 2022. I think Fashion Sakala equalised one each game. Rangers put absolutely everything into that game. That was a game they needed to win. For us, it was just a case of not getting beat. And there's shades of this one too. It's similar. Like, Rangers now have to come here to Celtic Park to get a result. They have to throw everything at us. A draw is no good for them. Like, genuinely, it's all about them getting 3 points. And again, it's down to, I guess we'll see if that drives or drains them. But, you know, for us, I think we've got to take it as a big advantage. I mean, the pressure is massively on them to get a result at Celtic Park. The fans will be demanding it. Even you look at their results at Celtic Park, Hamish, like, their fans are an expectant bunch, where they'll be expecting them to come to Celtic Park and will be demanding a result. So, and you know what their players are like when it comes to the pressures that their fans put on them. So yeah, that's going to have a big part in it too. But I think the fact that I don't think as well we'll be approaching that game with we just don't need to lose as well. I mean, we'll be going out to win it. I certainly hope we do. I've never seen a Celtic team ever at all, like maybe in the Martin O'Neill or Strachan days in Europe, but but generally, Hamish, in all my years of following Celtic, I've never seen a Celtic team do well when it comes to just needing a draw or just needing a point. We always have to go out to win, and it's what our fans demand as well. So while, their fans put a lot of pressure on them, ours put even more pressure on us. And then when you look at what we've won in the last few years, the players can handle it. I'm confident they can handle it because I think Saturday against Hearts was a massive pressure game. Everybody felt it getting into that, and everybody was all sort of in it together. And I think, honestly, I genuinely do think the atmosphere on Saturday is going to be the best we've seen at Celtic Park in some time. I've been critical of that 3-2 game, the one last season. I mean, I didn't think it was a great atmosphere at all being at that one. The 4-0 game before it, as well. Although we went wild during the game and everything, I still feel everything's like a barometer compared to that 3-0 2022 match. It was a pinnacle.
Yeah.
But here's a bold shout here, and I could be wrong. Even though the half-12 kick-off will have a lot to do with it, for this one, I think it goes out the window. I honestly feel Celtic Park, from the first minute to the last, hopefully, is going to just be every inch like that 2022 game, because this is a title decider. And that's it. Whoever wins this game, I think will probably go on to win the title. So I think the atmosphere is going to just be a massive, massive part of it. And everybody's got to do their bit for it. And that's why I'm confident that we will turn up, because I think the fans will feed off it. And as I say, there's not even a lot of negativity when we get into it as well. Like the second week in a row, I'm getting dead excited about it. I bet you when I thought that was happening.
No, not at all. I mean, I think you make a lot of good points there. I just think, I mean, what does it really matter? Comparing the atmosphere to that night. I personally think you're probably never going to actually reach that, just because it was a night game, and frankly, because folk had been in the boozer all day. You're not really going to have this weekend, and that definitely plays a part in atmosphere. But in terms of it's going to be rocking. I just remember that night it just being so hostile. And I think it definitely has an effect in these matches against this Rangers team. Better Rangers teams probably weren't affected in the same way by the atmosphere, but I just think the whole idea, they'll know they're in themselves on Saturday. They've not got any fans there. And I just think it's twofold. If the support are making it just loud and horrible for them, and the team are making it horrible for them, uncomfortable, that's the word. If they're both making it uncomfortable for Rangers, I think we'll see, real joy there. In terms of, the going for the win, there's no doubt Celtic are going to be going for the win. And I think the team see it as a real opportunity, because as much as we've beaten Rangers this season, we're still to put them in their place. I think we've beaten them a couple of times, but it's been kind of scrappy, and they've been great results. And obviously the last one at Ibrox, it seemed like that was going to be the day when we really got a big victory, comfortable against them. It didn't happen due to that second half. But I think the team, as much as obviously just winning is the most important thing, I think they'll want to kind of put Rangers in their place this weekend after all the talk this season, to make a real statement. I think the point is that, a draw is a decent result, a good result in terms of winning the league. And I think if we get to the later stages, last 10 minutes, and it's goalless, I think potentially at that stage you might see the management and team being a bit more kind of resolute and kind of being happy-ish with the point. But certainly at the start of the game, that doesn't come into it. I just remember that game a couple of years ago that you talked about, and the one when Jota scored and it was 1-1. And I think that's a good example. That's a game we went out to win, because I think that day it was kind of similar. I think if we'd have beaten them that day, from memory, we'd have gone 9 ahead with 3 to play. This is obviously 6 ahead with 2 to play, so you couldn't officially win the league, but you could basically. And obviously that didn't happen that day. I just get a feeling, I just hope people, and I made this point earlier in the week, I hope people aren't going along just expecting a party like the 5-0 game in Rodgers' second season and like so many others over the years, because I think this is going to be a real battle, and I hope people have got that in their minds going to the game. This is a battle rather than, this is us turning up to win the league. I think this is a major battle, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a complication round the corner, whether that's us maybe going behind in the game, God forbid getting a red card or something like that, or even just being a lot of Rangers pressure. I don't think this is a game we're going to go along to and completely batter them. I know a lot of people think that, and we've got it in the comments. I just think it might be a bit more difficult than that. I think it's important, as I say, as a support, Stevie, that we go along expecting a battle rather than, expecting a procession.
Totally. Yeah. Honestly, anybody that thinks it's going to be a 4-5-0 job and we're turning up for the party, I would rather personally earn there. So I don't want...
Oh! He's talking to you, the lady who said it'd be 4-0 at half time.
Not literally, but I don't want that type of mindset there. I can't come into that play. I think that's the biggest problem we've got for Saturday is complacency, basically. And I think we've got to treat this like a game we need to win to basically, win the title. I think we need to treat it psychologically as if Rangers are in the driving seat. Genuinely, we've got to treat it like that, because I think the moment we let any complacency creep in, we're going to cause problems for ourselves. Look at the season already. Look at the results we've had when we've maybe thinking, we're getting comfortable here, we'll be all right. It's only Kilmarnock. It's only Hearts. We're 3-2 up. 4 minutes injury time. Don't worry about that. Honestly, it's a major problem, and it's my big fear for getting into that. Maybe it says a lot that, although I acknowledge Rangers are a difficult opponent, I acknowledge that they are the biggest threat we've got to winning this title. I also feel that the bigger threat is us ourselves, and that's what I worry about. So, it's all right in saying the management can't be complacent for it, and the players can't be making mistakes, and they have to take it seriously, but so do the fans, and I'm sure they will. I'm probably just getting a wee bit... so I'm probably doing them a disservice here, because I think the majority of fans will go in knowing it's a battle, because I have seen plenty of times, growing up. I don't want to say what decade it was, all right, but I think Jimmy Johnson was still playing it. But I've seen terrible Celtic sides being so unfancied and come out and get a result, like a draw, and even beating Rangers. I have seen it in the past, and it can happen. A lot of the Rangers sides that I grew up seeing were probably it was the Bevy era, the team that drinks together, wins together, all that, and you doubt that had a bit of an effect as well. I think it's a bit more professional to an extent in Scottish football now. But yeah, that's I think you nail it there. People can't be getting in and think this is a big party atmosphere, thinking, turn up and win and it's a big celebrations. Let's all have videos after the game of how much it's a laugh, and taking Rodgers' fun part. Literally, it's all right for a manager to hit out with that, but I think for us it's a bit, if fans enjoy the spectacle, because I know I will, during been moments where I'm actually nearly greeting and all that through the nerves, but at the same time I'm big enough and ugly enough to know that I've seen enough of your comments here. I know you're dying to say something. It will be a battle. It's going to be a complete fight for the 90 minutes, and we can't let any of that complacency creep in, thinking even if we get an early goal, treat it very seriously, as if it's, let's go get a second, then this, let's just rest on this. And I don't think the team will. But you're spot on about that for the players. Sorry, with the fans. Constant 90 minutes of just getting right behind the team and just not taking their foot off the gas, and hopefully the players don't do the same.
Yeah, it's just because I've got in my mind people turn up and expect a really comfortable afternoon and us to score all these goals, and then suddenly it's goalless at half time, and people will start groaning at odd misplaced pass, and that gives Rangers encouragement. I think that's the thing. You have a huge advantage in these games. This is a final one with no away fans. We know by now how this support works. It's not new to us. It's a huge advantage for the home team, but only if they don't start getting on their team's back. We've seen at Ibrox both times so far this season, at Ibrox and that 2-2 game last season, how quickly they got on their team's back. And I remember some grumbles in the 3-2 game last season that I spoke about. Obviously wasn't at the game in December, but I just think total support, we were amazing last Saturday against Hearts. It was an amazing afternoon. Obviously scoring the early goals massively helped, and hopefully we can do that again tomorrow. But I just think that's the supporters' role. Bring the noise, back the team, and if we do that and the team turn up, we're going to be celebrating, another league title in a couple of days. Rangers likely to be without Abdallah Sima, I believe, Stevie. Connor Goldson, Oscar Cortez.
Who's that? Who they?
And Danilo will definitely miss the game. Rabi Matondo may be fit. Who and what worries you about our rivals?
It's getting the free kicks, 20, 25 yards out. That really does worry me. Seen it already this season anyway. I'm not going to bring in chat with penalties and refs because, as I say, it's about what we do. And I believe my thoughts on William Collum have been made abundantly clear in the past. Focusing on Rangers, my big worry is the same as ever. I don't want to just come out and say that they're inept at corners and everything like that. And I think their stats are they've not scored as many corners this season as what they had in the past couple of seasons when Goldson and Balogun were genuine threats there. I think obviously it goes without saying they're still a threat for set pieces, but that is a big worry for me where Colin gives them a free kick 20, 25 yards out, you know who's taking it, and we did well actually not to give away, I know there was a penalty, right, but we did well not to give away the free kicks in a game at Ibrox, but it's this one, because we saw what Tavernier did, not only in the 2-1 game, but the 3-2 game as well. He's a huge threat, and that is always what's going to worry me about them every time for as long as he's there. He's a very skilled sort of striker of the ball, set pieces especially, and that is just my major thing that we've got to worry about with him.
Yeah, I agree. I think we said the same at Ibrox. Don't give daft free kicks away round the edge of the box. Sometimes it's almost a case, and I don't know how easy this is to do at the time, but sometimes it's almost a case of like if they've got a chance of getting a shot away, you would rather they got the shot away with a kind of crowded area in front of them rather than Tavernier being able to place the ball down, take his time and curl a free kick. Because he's certainly, he's a real threat from that. And just Tavernier generally, defensively he's obviously there to be got at, and he doesn't enjoy playing against Dyes and Maida. But he's probably their biggest threat, even from open play in terms of coming in at the back post. He scored a goal like that at Celtic Park last season. So I just think he's the main one for me. But I guess the good news is that we've got Dyes and Maida back. And I think Maida's going to start this match. Imagine we were very much in a situation a couple of weeks ago where we just kind of assumed Maida would be out for the rest of the season and would probably be looking at, James Forrest out in the left. And I think Maida's going to be, far better at tracking back. Nothing against James Forrest. Dyes and Maida's just kind of superhuman. This is my team, by the way, Stevie. Joe Hart, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales, Greg Taylor, Callum McGregor, Rio Hatate, Matt O'Reilly, James Forrest, Kyogo Furuhashi and Dyson Maida. Is that the team for you?
Exact same team, man for man, yeah. Only, a couple of people in the work were asking about Hatate. Would they start him? Would they have Paulo Bernardo just because of the fact that he scored a goal against them already in the December game and he provided a fantastic assist for Aramida in the 3-3 game, but I just feel Hatate, you've got to have him in for a man. I think you've got to have your strongest possible team for a game like this, and Hatate is definitely one of our best midfielders, along with Callum McGregor, who looks as if he's getting back to full fitness now, and Matt O'Reilly. It's exactly the team I'd go with as well. James Forrest out on the right, Dyson Maeda, I don't care how fit he is, 10%, 20% fit, doesn't matter. He has to start that game, even just psychologically. Like Tavernier can't handle him. The thought of Dyson Maeda starting that game and just having him in the lineup will generally do a number on Rangers psychologically. They'll hate it because there was players like they had. Remember, doesn't matter. They had all their mind games saying with guys like Laudrups and Alberts be fit, and we were always before the game going, "This is like a win for us if they're not playing." A half-fit Laudrup turns up and still does a number on us, and it's the same like more recently like Henrik Larsson back in the day as well. They would have hated the sight of him. So I'm no way am I comparing Maeda and Larson in that respect. But it is in terms of just how big a job he does against Rangers offensively and the work that he does defensively, it's got to start. So don't care how don't. Hopefully he can last into the second half. But aye, nailed on starter for me, definitely.
I just think Kyogo's gonna be a huge part of this game as well. He looked unbelievable against Hearts. He had those 2 goals in the first half. He could have had a hat-trick as well. Really good effort. That was a really good save from Xander Clark. And I just think that space in behind, who you potentially looking at, it'll be, potentially Balogun and Suter. If Balogun doesn't make it, it'll be Suter and Davies. I think Suter and Davies ideally you'd be looking at, because both of them had howlers last season, didn't they, in the same game. But even Balogun, who people are kind of talking about a wee bit, I think Balogun's a decent enough player. I think he's quite quick, and I actually think he's probably better than Goldson. But even he gets sent off last time at Celtic Park, so there's going to be some kind of
who did they hold down, Hamish?
DM.
Correct.
Wasn't it?
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
Aye. I think it's important to note as well, I know that we said Hatate has to start, but I do believe guys like Adamida and Bernardo will have parts to play later on in the game. Having a strong bench and having options, because look what they both did to combine for the 3-3 game. Can you write that off? And I don't think Rangers bench is anywhere near as strong as others. Maybe their first 11 that they'll put out is formidable. But when they've got players that are tiring, and they've got players that are maybe struggling and need to go off, I don't think they've got a bench that is strong enough as their first 11. Whereas, with us, I think we've got really good options in there. So it's very promising for Saturday. But again, not getting ahead of ourselves. But it's good to be confident, and it's good to be this. How often this season have we been talking about a Celtic team not being convinced and picking holes here and going, but and for all he's good, but there's always a big but here. But no, in this occasion,
Nicky but
hands job, but I liked him. But I think it's it's great to be at this stage of the season and to not be, I don't want to say negative, but glass half empty. I'm quite optimistic and positive getting into it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm not being cocky or arrogant about it, but I think the Celtic team in the last few weeks, whether that was the slog and getting through in ugly fashion against Aberdeen, or holding on against Dundee at Dens Park, or like last week, convincingly beating the Hearts, who are no mugs. We've done, we've seen different manners of it in the business end of the season. I think it's shaping up nicely for us, and I'm hoping that they don't make me look like an idiot on Saturday, because I have genuine belief in the team and the manager.
You just don't know with these fixtures, do you? I mean, it's previewing, it's obviously great fun and people hopefully enjoy the chat and that, but it's just it can all just go out the window, because the last derby's the perfect example. We're all talking about it being such a tough ask, but we back Celtic to do it, and I dare say on various Rangers YouTube channels and podcasts they'd be talking about, this is our day, we're going to put them to the sword and we're going to go on and win the league. 20 seconds, less than that, it's 1-0. Freak things can happen that just completely put your game plan out the window, and I think it's going to be interesting to see if something like that happened to Celtic, how would we deal with it. We were really good under the previous manager at doing that, and I think Rodgers has clearly shown, his teams have shown in the past that they're able to do that, but you just don't know in these games. I think as fans as well, I agree. I'd say I'm quietly confident. If it was just a normal match, say, against a team like this, I'd be looking at it and going, yeah, we've got better players, we're fully firing. They're struggling. I know they won 4-1 at the weekend, but they're really struggling. They're not in a good place. Their support, I don't think, actually believe they can go to Celtic Park and win. Their manager, seems to be pretty rattled at the moment, which has been kind of strange given that he was quite quiet when he first came to the club. You'd be looking at all these factors and saying, yeah, this is Celtic's time, we're going to do this. but just something about this fixture. I don't know if it's the fear of losing, but you just always got in the back of your mind, like, what if it doesn't go to plan? Where will we be there? So that's what I'm kind of weighing up in my mind. But generally, I feel that this is our time to strike. It's been a really weird season. We've arguably never really picked up any real momentum until this point. There's been injuries all season. We now have a fully fit squad, basically, something the manager touched on in midweek. And we have Rangers where we want them. Imagine before that last derby, you would have said, oh, by the way, the next derby, you'll be playing for the chance to win the league. If you win that game, you win the league. We wouldn't have really believed it, because we're looking at this as being the one we would have to win the league, where now we're looking at it as being the one we can win to win the league. Yeah.
You know, you said to me, I've had some real lows this season. The Kilmarnock defeat, the Kilmarnock draw at home, the Hearts loss. But if you said to me after the way I felt, the 1-1 draw in mid-February against Kilmarnock, you even said to me after Rangers beat Hearts 5-0, I think they went something like 4 clear, I'm sure. Was it 5 clear? And you said, listen, you'll be next, the next 2 times you play them, you'll be getting a draw at Ibrox, and the next thing at Celtic Park will be a chance for you to. It'll be a statement win for the title. There'd have been no chance the way this Celtic team are playing. Like you made a good point. The squad is the healthiest it's looked all season. Brendan's been crying about it. He's been whining about it for months. He's now got the team that he wants. He's now got the team that he's been pleading for. So there should be no. I mean, I know that you're saying form goes out the window and these games can go either way, but when you look at the team we've got and how much Brendan was saying, when I have all the players available to me, there's going to be no stopping us. And he said that a few times this season, Hamish. So there should be no excuses, and he should be, up to the task of delivering that on Saturday as well. I know human nature comes into it, and there'll be other things that can affect it. It's not just as easy as putting your 11 players out to get the win, but he's paid a hell of a lot to basically outsmart Philip Clement. I've got faith in him that he will. And as I say earlier on, hope he doesn't make me look daft and having all this belief in him, but I really do, for the first time in weeks, months, have total belief in our manager and our players for getting into such a big game at Celtic Park, especially against our rivals here.
Yeah, looking forward to it as well in terms of your big day out, an early start. It'll be 12:30 kickoff.
Yeah, early start, but nothing after it. I know that it's just going to be not a quiet one, but I've got family stuff to do after it, so I can't join the rest of the unnamed individuals that you will definitely know on Saturday after the match. They'll all be going out, hopefully. Good result dependent. But I can't do that. But no, I'm looking forward to it before it. And guess what, by the way? It's meant to be a nice day on Saturday. It's meant to be 22 degrees.
Oh, very nice.
I know. That must be freezing to you earlier, Hamish.
No, I mean we're rainy and miserable now.
Good.
So things have kind of switched a little bit. I mean, that in a weird way that kind of adds to the atmosphere as well. It'll be sunny, and everyone, I just think's a bit more up for it when it's sunny, as daft as that sounds. It's weird, the things you remember from various derbies. Just one final bit of news before we go. Celtic say that Adam Montgomery and Joey Dawson have both signed new deals with the club, both 1-year extensions. Montgomery kind of forgot he was around. He was obviously out on loan, I think, at Fleetwood at the start of this season, potentially. Came back, I think, when Scott Brown lost his job. Joey Dawson we've not really seen much of, but it'd be interesting to see if those guys have a part to play at all next season. Both kind of injured at the moment, I think, or certainly Dawson has been injured. Anything else, Stevie? Any last message to calm the nerves of the thousands of Celtic fans hanging on your every word and watching this?
It was just great to have me on no matter the time, Hamish, because as you know, birds just can't fly in a cage.
Oh, very good. Right, everyone, that's us for now. Enjoy, if you can, the lead up to the match. Enjoy, if you can, the match itself. Hopefully, things go our way. Regardless, I'll be back on Monday to look back at it all.